Okay, it looks like we're live. Hello and welcome to the stream. We are going to pick up our major playthrough series. We're going to go in next into Champlain Lookout Major by Lifeonaboard. We're little late on getting all of these finished, but I think I'm gonna do maybe 5 of these today, 4 or 5, so that I can hopefully wrap up the next or the last group of them. Actually, maybe I'll do that this evening. Who knows? So, we're far enough in the contest that I can say that this is one of the courses that did not make the cut. Let's see. Again, it's been long enough. I'm struggling to remember some stuff about it, but again, like most of the courses in this contest, that. Hey, Brendan, how's it going? Like, there's not a lot of major issues with this course, but it was just, I think, just kind of beat by, just a stronger field. I will say this green is massive and rather flat. And yeah, like the only challenge I think this green really provides is the fact that it kind of just slopes off into the heavy rough on the corners, which is, I mean, it's a way to do difficulty. I generally find that it's not ideal, especially when it like if you're doing runoffs, you generally want it to run off into like a playing surface of some kind. Like you have a fairway swale or something down there. And so just having greens run straight into heavy rough is, again, it is a way to make it harder. I don't think it's a particularly good way to make a course harder. And even without that, this green is still enormous and very flat. So I wouldn't call that hole particularly major appropriate. Again, this one's got a little more movement in it. The landing area isn't as huge as the first hole, but I think we're gonna get into the kind of common theme of just the greens being very large on this course. I am doing just fine. Did a little half day of work, and I figure, well, it's all rainy and nasty, and just makes sense to I'm gonna get some stuff done today. Want to get these wrapped up. Maybe do another judging pass on the courses that made the cut. I will say that this whole concept's a little awkward. It just feels a little manufactured. Like this big kind of gorge cutting into the fairway doesn't particularly feel natural for what's like a very flat hole, and then you just have this, obviously none of this is natural just because that's how the game works. That's not how golf design in this game works. Everything is by definition manufactured, but you want it to feel natural, and this doesn't feel particularly natural. Oh, thank you, I forgot to change that stream title. Good call. Alright, now it's updated. Perfect. Also, I don't know, a little nitpick, but the two massive bridges right next to each other feel a little silly. Like, that would be a massive undertaking to build, and building two of them when you can realistically just kind of, like, you try to use one and find a way that they can walk over both of them. If a hole or like if a 2-hole stretch required this much infrastructure to build, then they'd route it somewhere else, especially if the holes that exist in it aren't necessarily the greatest. I like this green though. It's solid. Sight lines on it are, again, it's an uphill shot. It's always going to be a little blind, but there's a lot of important features on this hole that you just don't see any of. I'm not sure what this little patch of fairway is for. I mean, it's just the play is always just to play out, you know, the split fairway thing doesn't work great if there's not really any option over on the other side. I mean, I guess, yeah, you get the quote-unquote better angle if you can hit it, but it's not really reasonable to hit, and I don't think the angle's really that much better. I'll just hit a 3-wood to the back fringe and have a very easy chip. Legitimately, that might be the play for a lot of high-level players, is that they feel confident enough they can make that chip and make the eagle. Okay, not all, like, I do enjoy some of the greens and some of the contours, but as a whole, they tend to be a little flat, and most of the contours I've seen on a lot of these greens are just them being turtle backed. Which again, it's not like, not that you can't turtle back greens. It's just you want to do it kind of. Why is it giving me a 9-iron for a chip? Oops. Yeah, that's fine. All right. For me, visually, there's nothing wrong with the construction of this hole. Um, again, I could argue that that apron just feels a little small considering how open and empty this spot is. There's no reason that you would need to make it that small. Like there's no cutoff that, or like feature that would limit the size of your apron. You could make it 8 times as big of that. It's completely arbitrary because you have this very open flat spot that this hole exists in, and it just doesn't occupy the space. And that would be, I think that would be my big complaint, is that you gave this hole a ton of open, empty space and you didn't fill it with anything. So, the hole's perfectly functional. It feels empty because you left a lot of just visual open space between you and the hole. And so it just, your 80% of your screen is filled with nothingness when you play the hole, or when you look at it from the tee. It's a very large spot for a par 3 that just, again, it doesn't really fill its space very well. I think this course is kind of a death of a thousand cuts type story, where there's nothing egregiously bad, although I find this kind of green sight and that apron to, like, the idea is interesting. I think the execution of it is a little awkward, especially this pin. I mean, I can probably hit like a partial lob wedge that I try and zip back or something, but whoops, or not. Again, it tries something interesting, and I like thinking outside the box, but I'm just finding the execution of that hole a little clunky. I also find it just like a little jarring, and this is just a personal thing of, like, the massive cliffs that this course just kind of occasionally exists on, but the course itself is so flat. So it always, oh, that's not a good spot. Like none of the individual decisions that I'm pointing out here feel particularly, you know, game breaking or anything. It's kind of an awkward pin spot. It's a little orange there, especially when you have a massive amount of area that again this green is huge. There's plenty of places you could put that pin. You could move it 3 feet one way or the other, and it would be fine. But you kind of put it on the orange slope, and that's just a little sloppy for me. Anyway, I keep getting sidetracked. Like again, there's the construction's generally solid. There's some interesting ideas. Uh, like the sculpting is solid. Like there's nothing egregiously wrong with this course, but it's definitely a death of a thousand cuts situation where there's just a lot of head scratching decisions or just things that don't quite work out. Um, it's generally not as difficult as we would hope for a major. And the little spikes in difficulty just kind of happen in very odd, maybe a little bit contrived ways. This is a funky fairway. There's really no reason I think anyone would ever lay up on this hole. But it's just, this one was in a strong field and just made a lot of kind of awkward head scratching decisions. Doesn't result in a bad course, but it results in a course that's fine. In a course where, or in a contest where, it's got to be pretty good to make it to the second round. And I think this one just didn't quite have the gas it needed. I think same thing with that other par three. It just exists in a big empty kind of like like the green's interesting, but it's a big green for a short hole, and this golf hole just kind of exists in a sea of nothingness. It feels very empty. That's just a terrible putt. Alright, how long is this one? Alright, so I could hit like a 3-wood there and have a long iron in. That's good enough. We're struggling enough as it is. I'll just take the easy shot. Actually, I'm still hitting a 9-iron, so it's not like I had to give up that much. Oh, get in. Hey, there we go. That's a shot. Don't think I need to watch the replay, but whatever. It's got to load up anyways. Might as well. That was certainly an interesting shot. I was very lucky. Okay, it's still a little awkward, but probably one of the better holes on the course. Okay, and then this one. It's visually one of the more striking holes on the course. You have a ton of bunkers that kind of like you have this big cliff in play, and you kind of don't really use it because like you use the bunkers to do the cape thing when you could be using the cliff to do the cape thing. So I don't know. It's in and of itself not a huge problem. But again, it's another little thing of just like, yeah, like you have this big cliff and you don't utilize it in a particularly interesting way. Like that cliff could be gone and just have that little bump with the bunkers in it, and the hole will play exactly the same. Because I think you're rarely missing enough where your miss isn't in the bunker. Your miss isn't down the cliff, it's in the bunker. You're rarely missing so that the cliff comes into play. And then we go to just a dead flat hole. Yeah, again, it just feels odd, yeah. And then you, like, lots of really open, empty spots that could be filled with something, or like, the holes could be closer together, that kind of thing. And then, you have the occasional massive cliffs, and then the instant you turn away from the massive cliffs, you get like this big flat area. I mean, things like that do happen. It just feels a little jarring to have, massive rugged cliffs and then right next to it, like almost Florida levels of flat. I feel like you could make the surrounding terrain a little more interesting. Yeah, again, another. Well, at least this green is like not so large that you look at it and go, "Hey, there's 80 feet of, or 80 square feet of pinnable spots," and you stuck it on the yellow slope. But it's still kind of a little bit of an obnoxious pin. Yeah, this green just feels a little funky. Like this, I don't know. Like again, it's neat concept, weird execution, I think. Oh, that's just a bad shot. I wonder if that's OB. Yeah, it is. Alright, makes sense. Well, I'm just chipping in everything today. It's certainly interesting. May I ask, have you done a playthrough of your major course Bentley Downs yet? It says it's done on the forums, but you can't find it on your Twitch VODs or YouTube. I believe I did. So Twitch VODs only go back, I think, 1 to 2 weeks, and I'm behind on uploading all of my YouTube videos. So I'm trying to upload a YouTube video a day. I'm through the first 13 playthroughs, so there's probably a good 15 playthroughs that are no longer on Twitch and are not up on YouTube yet. So I will hopefully get it up. I will hopefully get it up on YouTube here in the next week or two. I have to think of which one yours was. I'm almost positive I've done that one already. I mean, it is possible that I mistakenly put it in the wrong category. Let's go down. Where did I put it? Be under. Okay, yeah. So let's see. Yes. I think yours is, you're one of the earlier ones to sign up. So I think yours should be in the next batch that'll be uploading over the next couple days. I don't remember it being that shitty. But yeah, we get to the end of this one, and I was gonna say there's no like clubhouse or anything. Not that or I guess is there one in the background there? I'm gonna go look. I'm just curious. So we have the is this the clubhouse? This kind of earthy thing? I guess so. Alright, so it does have one. It's just kind of an odd one. Fair enough. It's funny, I played through that twice and it never clicked that was supposed to be the clubhouse. Just looked like a big thing of retaining walls. But yeah, it was. There were some interesting ideas on that one. I think it just got a little outclassed by the field, but um, again, it's a pleasant enough play. But anyways, thank you for the course. Thank you for the entry. For those of you in chat, we'll catch you back in a minute. For those of you watching this video playback, we'll catch you in the next one. Until then, have a good one.